The massive alien ship appeared in Earth's orbit without warning. It was unlike anything humans had ever seen, sleek, silver, and shaped like a crescent moon. It glided silently past Earth's defense satellites, ignoring all attempts at communication. Commander Daniel Murphy stood on the bridge of the International Space Station Alpha, watching the alien vessel through reinforced windows. His knuckles turned white as he gripped the railing. 20 years in space defense, and nothing had prepared him for this moment. "Sir, they're sending a transmission," said Officer Julie Peters, her eyes fixed on the communication panel. I think they're speaking English." Murphy rushed to her station. "Put it through." A deep, resonant voice filled the bridge. "This is Delegate Zarkin of the Galactic Confederation. I request immediate audience with Earth's leadership on matters of urgent security." 6 hours later, Murphy stood in a hastily prepared conference room at the United Nations headquarters in New York. World leaders and military officials filled the room, their faces tense with worry. The alien delegate towered over everyone at nearly 8 feet tall. His blue-tinted skin shimmered under the fluorescent lights, and his 4 eyes blinked independently of each other. "I thank you for receiving me on such short notice," Zarkin said, his voice translator making his words sound almost musical. "I come with grave news and little time." Lisa Bennett, Earth's newly appointed diplomatic liaison, stepped forward. She was chosen for her background in both international diplomacy and xenobiology theory. "We appreciate your directness. Delegate Zarkin, please tell us why you've come." Zarkin activated a small device on his wrist. A three-dimensional star map appeared above the conference table, showing hundreds of solar systems. "The Galactic Confederation spans over 3,000 worlds across your Milky Way. Earth sits here, on the outer rim." He pointed to a tiny blue dot. "For centuries, we have observed your world from afar, tracking your development." President Howard looked skeptical. "You've been watching us. For what purpose?" "To determine when you would be ready for contact," Zarkin replied. "Most species are welcomed into the Confederation after developing faster than light travel. Earth is different." "Different how?" asked General Paula Collins, her voice sharp with suspicion. Zarkin's upper eyes narrowed. "Your technological development has been remarkably fast. Too fast, according to some members of the Confederation. The Kryll Dominion, a powerful faction within our alliance, sees humanity as a potential threat." Murphy felt his stomach tighten. "Are you saying we're in danger?" "The Kryll have authorized an invasion of Earth, scheduled to begin within 14 of your days," Zarkin said bluntly. "They plan to subjugate humanity before you develop space warfare capabilities that could challenge them." The room erupted in shouts and questions. President Howard raised his hands for silence. "Why are you telling us this? Why betray your own people?" "The Kryll do not speak for all the Confederation," Zarkin replied. "Many of us believe this invasion violates our most sacred laws of non-interference with developing worlds. I am here because what they plan is not just illegal, it is insane." Lisa Bennett stepped closer to the alien delegate. "What makes it insane, specifically?" Zarkin's expression changed to something that might have been a smile. "Because they will lose. The Kryll have studied your weapons, your militaries, your satellites. What they have failed to understand is your adaptability, your tenacity. I have studied your history. Humans fight with a determination unknown in the galaxy." "So you're here to warn us," Murphy said, "not help us." "I am here to offer a choice," Zarkin corrected. "Prepare for war, or allow me to attempt emergency diplomacy. But know this, the Kryll are already on their way. The first scout ships will enter your solar system within days." President Howard looked around the room, meeting the eyes of each world leader present. "How do we know this isn't a trick? That you're not softening us up for invasion?" Zarkin removed a small crystal from his belt and placed it on the table. "This contains everything I know about Kryll battle tactics, ship capabilities, and weaknesses. Consider it a gesture of good faith." Murphy stared at the crystal, then at the alien. Something told him their world would never be the same after today. The United Nations Security Council chamber was packed. World leaders sat shoulder to shoulder while military advisors stood along the walls. Zarkin stood at the center, his tall blue form commanding attention as he activated a holographic display from his wrist device. The Kryll invasion force consists of 17 warships, he explained. They will arrive in formation, led by War Commander Vexol, one of the most decorated military leaders in the Confederation. A hologram showed sleek, predatory ships with sharp angles and glowing red engines. They moved in a tight V pattern that reminded Major Samantha Wells of geese flying south for winter. Their standard approach is to target communication systems first, Zarkin continued, followed by military installations. They prefer to keep infrastructure intact for their own use after conquest. Major Wells stepped forward. She had spent the night studying the crystals Zarkin provided, analyzing Kryll battle strategies. I noticed they always maintain this same formation, she said, pointing at the hologram. Is there a reason? Zarkin's 4 eyes blinked in sequence. The Kryll believe in unity above all. Their ships are designed to channel energy between vessels in this formation. Breaking their pattern would weaken their shields. Wells nodded, making notes on her tablet. That's a weakness we could exploit. From the back of the room, Admiral George Baker crossed his arms. What I don't understand is why you're helping us. Betraying your own kind seems like a big risk for you. The room went quiet. It was the question on everyone's mind. Zarkin turned all 4 eyes toward Baker. The Kryll are not my kind any more than humans from different countries are the same kind. The Confederation is made up of 78 different species. I represent a coalition of 34 who believe in the rule of law. President Howard leaned forward. And what law are the Kryll breaking? Our oldest one, Zarkin replied. No interference with developing worlds until they achieve interstellar travel on their own. Earth is close to this threshold, perhaps only decades away. The Kryll wish to conquer you before you join as equals. Lisa Bennett had been quiet, studying Zarkin's body language. You said this invasion is not just illegal but insane. You still haven't fully explained why. Zarkin's mouth formed what might have been a smile. In our history, we have encountered over 300 sentient species, none developed in an environment like Earth's. Your gravity is crushing by our standards. Your atmospheric pressure is intense. Your radiation levels from your sun would kill most species. These conditions have made humans uniquely durable. Durable, Murphy asked. You heal quickly. You endure pain that would incapacitate others. Your bodies can survive trauma that would kill most species instantly. Zarkin gestured to the hologram, switching to images of Kryll soldiers. The average Kryll warrior can lift twice their body weight. The average human can do the same, but on a planet with gravity that would cripple a Kryll. The implications sank in around the room. So we're physically stronger than they expected, General Collins said. That's helpful, but hardly enough against their technology. It is not just physical strength, Zarkin said. It is your adaptability. Your species turned from primitive tools to nuclear power in less than 10,000 years. The Kryll took 50,000 to do the same. A junior officer burst into the room, handing a note to Admiral Baker. His face went pale as he read it. We've detected an unidentified object entering the solar system, Baker announced. It's moving fast, approaching from the direction of Alpha Centauri. Zarkin's posture stiffened. A Kryll scout ship. They're earlier than expected. President Howard stood up. How much time do we have? If they've sent scouts already, the main fleet will arrive within days, not weeks, Zarkin said. Murphy looked around at the leaders of Earth. Then we need to prepare for war. Outside the window, the sun was setting over New York City. Millions of people went about their lives, unaware that their world was about to change forever. 3 days passed in a blur of activity. The world's militaries mobilized with unprecedented cooperation. Orbital defense platforms that had been theoretical projects were rushed into production. Zarkin provided technical advice that helped Earth engineers improve their weapons to be more effective against Kryll shields. Commander Murphy stood on the bridge of the U.S. Defiant, Earth's newest space cruiser. 6 months ago, it had been under construction as a research vessel. Now it bristled with weapons and a crew ready for war. "Sensor contact," called out Lieutenant Carol Davis from her station. Multiple objects dropping out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the system. Murphy's heart raced, but his voice remained steady. "Battle stations. Alert all Earth forces." The main screen showed 17 ships appearing like ghosts against the blackness of space. They moved with precision, forming the V-pattern Zarkin had warned about. "This is Colonel Eric Johnson of Earth Defense Force to all units," came the voice over the command channel. "Form up as planned. Remember your training." Earth's fleet was small compared to the Kryll, just 11 combat-ready vessels plus orbital platforms. But they had spent every hour preparing for this moment. "They're broadcasting," said Olivia Martinez, communications specialist. Her fingers flew over her console. "I'm running it through the translation matrix Zarkin provided." A harsh voice filled the bridge. "Primitive Earth vessels. This is War Commander Vexul of the Kryll Dominion. Your planet is claimed by the Dominion. Surrender your ships and prepare for occupation." President Howard's voice responded from Earth Command. "This is Earth. We reject your claim. The Galactic Confederation's own laws prohibit this invasion. Withdraw immediately." A laugh that sounded like grinding metal came over the channel. "So, Zarkin found his way to you. It matters not. His faction is weak. The Dominion decides who lives free and who serves." The Kryll ships accelerated toward Earth. "All vessels, execute Plan Alpha," Colonel Johnson ordered. The Earth fleet scattered in seemingly random directions. The Kryll maintained their tight formation, pursuing the largest group of Earth ships. "They're taking the bait," Murphy said. "Captain Carter, you're up." The U.S. Defiant and 2 smaller ships had held back, hiding in the sensor shadow of Mars. Now they powered up and moved on an intercept course with the rear of the Kryll formation. "Weapons hot," Murphy ordered. "Target the trailing vessels." On the main screen, Murphy watched as the Kryll ships fired energy weapons at Earth's fleeing fleet. The human vessels took hits but kept moving, drawing the Kryll further from their perfect formation. "Now," Murphy shouted. The Defiant fired its main cannons. The weapons were modified based on Zarkin's knowledge, calibrated to the exact frequency it would disrupt Kryll shields. The energy beams struck the last 3 ships in the Kryll formation. Without the energy sharing of their tight formation, the Kryll shields failed. The beams cut through their hulls like hot knives. "Direct hits on all targets," Weapons Officer Ben Kelly reported, amazement in his voice. 3 Kryll ships exploded in silent bursts of light and debris. "Impossible," came Vexul's voice over the comm. "Human weapons cannot penetrate our shields." "Pull back," Murphy ordered as the remaining Kryll ships turned to face this new threat. The Defiant and its escort ships retreated, but the damage was done. The Kryll formation was broken, their perfect V shattered. On the command channel, Zarkin's voice was filled with something like awe. "They did not believe me when I said humans would fight back effectively. The Kryll have not lost ships in battle for over 300 years." The Kryll vessels regrouped and retreated to the edge of the solar system. "They're withdrawing," Martins reported, "but they're not leaving the system." Murphy knew this was just the beginning. "They'll be back, with reinforcements." Colonel Johnson's voice came over the comm. "All ships return to Earth orbit. We've won the first round, but this war has just begun." As the Defiant turned back toward Earth, Murphy looked at the faces of his crew. They were tired but proud. Humans had drawn first blood in their first interstellar war. The meeting room at Earth's Joint Military Command buzzed with activity. Maps, holographic displays, and screens covered every wall. Officers and scientists moved between stations, sharing information and updates. At the center table sat Zarkin, surrounded by Earth's military leaders. The Kryl are regrouping, Admiral Baker said, pointing to a display showing the enemy ships near Jupiter's orbit. We hurt them, but they're calling for reinforcements. Zarkin nodded. The Kryl never expected to lose ships. Their pride is wounded, which makes them more dangerous. Dr. Alan Wright, Earth's leading xenobiologist, joined them at the table. He was a short man with thick glasses and wild gray hair. I've been studying the data on Kryl physiology, he said. Their homeworld has about 30% of Earth's gravity and minimal solar radiation. What does that mean for us? Asked General Collins. It means we're basically superhumans to them, Dr. Wright explained with excitement. Their bodies evolved for efficiency in a gentler environment. Ours developed for survival in harsher conditions. Murphy looked at Zarkin. Is that true? Yes, Zarkin admitted. Most Confederation species consider Earth an extreme world. Few could survive here without protection. A Kryl soldier would struggle to stand up in your gravity without mechanical assistance. Patricia Rodriguez, lead engineer for the Defense Forces, spread out technical diagrams on the table. We've been studying the Kryl technology from the debris we recovered, she said. Their weapons are advanced, but their designs assume certain physical limitations that don't apply to us. She held up a Kryl rifle. It was sleek and deadly looking. This is designed for a being with less muscle strength and endurance than humans. We can modify it to be 30% more powerful just by reinforcing the power core. Zarkin's 4 eyes widened. You've already adapted their technology. Rodriguez smiled. We've been reverse engineering alien tech since Roswell. This is just the first time we had real samples to work with. An aide entered the room and whispered something to General Collins. She nodded and addressed the group. The Kryl have sent a message. They're demanding our surrender within 24 hours or they'll launch a full-scale attack. We should show Delegate Zarkin our special training facility, Murphy suggested. He needs to understand what the Kryl are really up against. 2 hours later, Zarkin stood in an observation room overlooking a massive training center. Below, hundreds of soldiers ran through combat drills. Some practiced with standard weapons, while others tested equipment modified with Kryl technology. Your soldiers train in full gravity with added weights? Zarkin asked, watching men and women running obstacle courses with heavy packs. Standard procedure, Murphy explained. We train in conditions worse than actual combat, so the real thing feels easier. They watched as a squad practiced boarding techniques on a mock-up of a Kryl ship, moving with speed and precision that seemed to surprise Zarkin. Your people learned our ship layouts this quickly. Humans are adaptable, Murphy said. It's how we've survived on Earth. Later, Zarkin met privately with President Howard and Lisa Bennett in the White House. The alien delegate seemed troubled. I must contact the Confederation Council, Zarkin said. They should see what I've seen. What exactly have you seen? Bennett asked. A species that should not be underestimated, Zarkin replied. The Kryl told the Council that humans were primitive and would surrender quickly once they saw superior technology. They were catastrophically wrong. President Howard leaned forward. Will the Council help us? The Council moves slowly, Zarkin admitted, but I will send them evidence of human capabilities and Kryl aggression. It may sway neutral factions to your side. As Zarkin left to prepare his message, Bennett turned to President Howard. Do you trust him? Howard watched the aliens' retreating form. Not completely. But he was right about one thing. The Kryl made a mistake attacking Earth. Outside, the first modified Earth ships prepared to launch. Humanity was ready for round 2. The alarm blared throughout Earth's defense headquarters. Red warning lights flashed in every corridor. Commander Murphy ran to the command center, his heart racing. Status report, he shouted as he entered the room. 32 Kryl ships just appeared at the edge of our solar system, Colonel Johnson replied, his face grim. They'll reach Earth orbit in under 2 hours. The main screen showed the new Kryl fleet. It was nearly twice the size of the first invasion force. The ships moved in the same V formation, but tighter, more disciplined. "Where's Zarkon?" Murphy asked. "Here," said the alien delegate, entering the room with Lisa Bennett. "I've sent my message to the Confederation Council, but help will not arrive in time." General Collins studied the tactical display. "We hurt them before, but we can't fight this many ships with our current forces." "We don't fight them conventionally," said General Frank Simmons, stepping forward. He was the head of Earth's Strategic Command, responsible for nuclear weapons. "We use what they consider primitive." Simmons pressed a button, and the display changed to show a new weapon. "This is an adapted nuclear missile. We've modified it based on cryo shield frequencies." Zarkon looked shocked. "You still use nuclear fission weapons?" "The Kryl believe such technology is thousands of years behind them." "Exactly," Simmons said with a grim smile. "They won't be looking for it. Their shields are designed to stop energy weapons, not physical explosions." President Howard joined them via video link. "Is this our best option?" "It's one part of the plan," Murphy said. "While their attention is on the nuclear strike, Lieutenant Melissa Gray and her team will board the Kryl command ship." Lieutenant Gray stepped forward. She was small but had a fierce look in her eyes. "My team has trained on the Kryl ship layout. We'll infiltrate and disable their central command systems." "And I've prepared Operation Thunderstorm," said Captain Rand Bennett. He was Lisa's brother and commanded Earth's Electronic Warfare Division. "Once the nukes hit their shields, we'll launch an electromagnetic pulse that should disrupt their targeting systems." "Three-pronged attack," Colonel Johnson summarized. "Nuclear strike, boarding party, and electronic warfare." "It's insane," Zarkon said quietly. "That's why it might work," Murphy replied. 90 minutes later, Earth's remaining fleet formed a defensive line in orbit. Behind them, the planet seemed small and vulnerable. "Kryl fleet approaching," reported Lieutenant Davis from her station on the U.S. Defiant. "They're hailing us." War Commander Vexol's face appeared on screen. His skin was gray with red markings, his eyes cold and arrogant. "Humans, you have proven more troublesome than expected. Your resistance is noted but futile. Surrender now, and we will be merciful." President Howard responded from Earth. "We reject your offer. Earth belongs to humanity, and we will defend it to our last breath." Vexol sneered. "Then you will all breathe your last today." The transmission ended. The Kryl ships advanced, weapons charging. "Launch nuclear salvo," General Simmons ordered. From hidden positions around Earth's orbit, 20 missiles shot toward the Kryl fleet. The enemy ships detected them but seemed unconcerned. "Their sensors show primitive nuclear weapons," Zarkon explained. "They don't consider them a threat to their shields." The missiles reached the Kryl formation and detonated. Massive explosions ripped through space. The Kryl shields glowed brightly as they absorbed the energy. "Shields holding," Davis reported, "but they're at maximum capacity." "Now," Captain Bennett ordered. From Earth's surface, powerful electromagnetic pulses shot upward. They passed through the already stressed Kryl shields and hit their electronic systems. "Boarding team, go," Murphy commanded. Lieutenant Gray's stealth ship, hidden in the debris from the first battle, accelerated toward Vexol's command vessel. The larger ship's sensors were disrupted by the EMP, leaving it vulnerable. On the main screen, Murphy watched as the Kryl ships began to drift out of formation. Their weapons stopped firing, and communication between vessels broke down. "It's working," Colonel Johnson said in amazement. "They're blind and confused." Murphy allowed himself a brief smile. "Now let's finish this." Zarkon stood before the Galactic Confederation Council. The circular chamber was filled with representatives from dozens of species. Some looked almost human, while others were utterly alien in form. All watched the blue-skinned delegate with 4 eyes as he prepared to speak. "Honorable Council members," Zarkon began, "I bring urgent news from Earth. The Kryl invasion has been met with unexpected resistance." Holographic displays activated around the chamber, showing footage from the battles near Earth. The council members murmured as they watched human ships successfully damaging Kryl vessels. "Impossible," said Councillor Draz, a reptilian being who led the faction supporting the Kryl. These primitive humans cannot stand against our best warriors. Yet they have, Zarkin replied. Not only stood against them, but inflicted significant losses. The footage showed Lieutenant Gray's team boarding the Kryl command ship, moving with speed and strength that surprised many council members. It then showed Captain Bennett's electromagnetic pulse disrupting the Kryl fleet's systems. They used their primitive nuclear weapons as a distraction, Zarkin explained. The Kryl shields were designed to stop energy weapons, not absorb massive physical explosions. The humans combined old and new technology in ways the Kryl never anticipated. On Earth, Murphy and his team monitored the council session through a communication link Zarkin had provided. World leaders gathered around screens, watching the debate that would determine Earth's fate. The Kryl claimed humans were primitive savages who needed to be controlled. Zarkin continued, I have found them to be innovative, adaptable, and surprisingly noble. The chamber erupted in debate. Some council members demanded immediate withdrawal of Kryl forces, while others insisted the invasion should continue with even more ships. Back on Earth, in the secured bunker beneath the White House, President Howard turned to Lisa Bennett. Do you think they'll side with us? Before she could answer, the door opened and Dr. Nicole Harrison entered. She was Earth's leading physicist and had been studying Kryl technology. Madam President, she said, we've prepared a presentation for the Council. May I have permission to transmit it through Zarkin's channel? President Howard nodded. Do it. In the Council chamber, Zarkin received a message. Earth wishes to address the Council directly, he announced. The Council leader, a tall, willowy being named Ilara, nodded. Let them speak. Dr. Harrison's image appeared in the center of the chamber. Respected Council members, I am Dr. Nicole Harrison of Earth. We understand your concerns about our species. Let me show you who we really are. Images flowed across the chamber. Earth's natural beauty, its diverse cultures, scientific achievements, and art. The presentation showed humans helping each other during disasters, working together to solve problems, and reaching for the stars. We do not seek conflict, Dr. Harrison continued, but we will defend our home. We have studied the Kryl ships we disabled. Within days, we adapted their technology and improved upon it. Imagine what we could accomplish as allies rather than enemies. The final images showed modified Earth ships incorporating Kryl technology and the successful defense against the second invasion wave. The humans learn at an extraordinary rate, Zarkin added. They accomplished in days what takes most species years. War Commander Vexol, who had been summoned to the Council, stepped forward. The humans got lucky. Give me more ships, and I will crush them. No, said Councillor Ilara firmly. We have seen enough. This invasion was authorized based on false information about human capabilities and intentions. The Council voted. The display showed the tally. 23 species voted to revoke the invasion authorization, 12 voted to continue, and 6 abstained. The Council has spoken, Ilara announced. The Kryl Dominion is ordered to cease all hostile actions against Earth immediately. Vexol's face contorted with rage, but he bowed stiffly. As the Council commands. On Earth, cheers erupted throughout the command center. President Howard shook Murphy's hand. We did it. But Murphy's expression remained serious. Let's hope the Kryl obey their orders. The mood in Earth's command center shifted from celebration to confusion as alarms began to sound again. What's happening? President Howard demanded. Lieutenant Davis rushed to her console. The Kryl fleet is moving, but not away from Earth. They're advancing. On the main screen, the Kryl ships formed a new attack pattern. Leading them was Vexol's command vessel. They're ignoring the Council's order, Murphy said, his face grim. Zarkin's communication came through, his voice urgent. The Council has dispatched ships to enforce their ruling, but they won't arrive for hours. Vexol has gone rogue. His own government ordered him to stand down. Lisa Bennett said in disbelief. Why would he continue? Pride. Zarkin replied simply. The Kryl have never lost a conquest. Vexol would rather disobey the Council than be the first to fail. Colonel Johnson studied the tactical display. Something strange. Some Kryl ships are moving sluggishly, not maintaining formation. Murphy zoomed in on the fleet. They're fighting among themselves. Look, those 5 ships are turning their weapons on Vexol's loyalists. It was true. Several Kryl captains had chosen to obey the Council's order. Civil war had broken out within the invasion fleet. This is our chance, General Collins said. We hit them while they're divided. Earth's remaining ships, now upgraded with modified Kryl technology, moved to engage. The space around Earth erupted in weapons fire as the largest battle in human history began. On the Kryl command ship, Lieutenant Gray and her team had remained hidden after their sabotage mission. Now they moved through the corridors, taking advantage of the chaos. We need to reach the bridge, Gray told her team. If we can capture Vexol, this ends immediately. As they rounded a corner, they encountered 3 Kryl guards. In the lower gravity that the Kryl maintained on their ships, the humans moved with incredible speed. The guards fired, but Gray's team was already upon them. The close-quarters fight was brief and one-sided. Meanwhile, in orbit around Earth, friendly Confederation ships began to appear. Ally Zarkin had convinced to come to Earth's aid. They engaged the loyal Kryl vessels, evening the odds. Zarkin himself led a boarding party to Vexol's ship. His tall blue form moved with purpose through the corridors, accompanied by soldiers from 7 different Confederation species. The bridge is ahead, Zarkin told his team. Vexol will be there. As they approached the bridge entrance, they encountered Gray's team coming from another direction. Humans, Zarkin said in surprise. You survived on the ship all this time. Lieutenant Gray nodded. We've been waiting for the right moment. The ship is in chaos. Half the crew is rebelling against Vexol's orders. Then we move together, Zarkin decided. They breached the bridge doors together. Inside, Kryl officers were arguing fiercely. Some demanded surrender to the Council forces, while others remained loyal to Vexol. War Commander Vexol stood at the center, his face twisted with rage. I will not be the first Kryl to lose a conquest. Earth will fall. It's over, Vexol, Zarkin announced. Surrender now. Vexol turned, seeing the combined force of humans and Confederation species. His hand moved toward his weapon. Lieutenant Kevin Barnes, one of Gray's team, saw Vexol aiming at Zarkin. Without hesitation, Barnes leaped forward, pushing Zarkin aside as Vexol fired. The energy blast caught Barnes in the shoulder. Zarkin's own weapon fired, stunning Vexol. The war commander collapsed to the deck as loyal Confederation forces secured the bridge. Zarkin knelt beside Barnes. You saved my life. Why? Barnes grimaced through the pain. Because that's what allies do. Outside, the battle was ending. With Vexol captured and the rebel Kryl ships standing down, the remaining loyal vessels retreated or surrendered. On Earth, cheers erupted in command centers around the world. Humanity had survived its first interstellar war. 1 month after the battle, Earth's leaders gathered on the lunar surface. A massive dome had been constructed as a neutral meeting ground between humans and the Galactic Confederation. Through the clear ceiling, Earth hung like a blue jewel against the blackness of space. President Howard stood at the center of the dome beside Zarkin. Before them were representatives from both Earth nations and Confederation species. On a small table between them lay a document, the Treaty of Luna. Today marks a new chapter in human history, President Howard said. We step onto the galactic stage, not as conquerors or the conquered, but as equals. Zarkin nodded. The Confederation Council has voted unanimously to offer Earth protected status with special military autonomy, a unique arrangement that respects your independence while bringing you into our community. Commander Murphy watched from the front row. The past month had been busy, helping coordinate Earth's recovery, integrating salvaged alien technology, and preparing for this historic moment. Beside him sat Lieutenant Barnes, his arm still in a sling but healing well. Lisa Bennett joined the president at the table. As Earth's new Secretary of Galactic Affairs, she would oversee humanity's integration with the wider universe. The terms are agreeable, she confirmed. Earth maintains full sovereignty over our solar system. We gain access to Confederation knowledge and trade routes. In return, we share our unique perspectives and join the Confederation Defense Network. President Howard signed the treaty, followed by Zarkin and representatives from 17 Confederation species. There is one more matter, Zarkin announced. The Council requires an ambassador from Earth, someone who understands both our ways and yours. Murphy was surprised when Zarkin turned to him. Commander Daniel Murphy has demonstrated the best qualities of humanity: courage, adaptability, and wisdom. The Council requests his appointment as Earth's first ambassador. President Howard looked at Murphy. Commander, will you accept this position? Murphy stood, feeling the weight of history on his shoulders. It would be my honor, Madam President. Later that day, Zarkin addressed the full Confederation Council, his speech broadcast throughout Confederation space and on Earth. Many called the invasion of Earth insane, he began. I used those words myself, but I did not fully understand their meaning until I witnessed humanity's response. The chamber was silent as Zarkin continued. The Kryll believed humans would surrender when faced with superior technology. Instead, humans adapted our technology and improved it within days. The Kryll thought humans would break under pressure. Instead, they united as never before in their history. Zarkin gestured to Murphy, who stood nearby. Humans evolved on a world that would kill most of us within hours. Their bodies are strong, their minds flexible, and their spirits unbreakable. Any further attempt to conquer Earth would be not just illegal, but truly insane. Vexul, now stripped of his rank and awaiting trial, was forced to watch the proceedings. His face showed only bitter defeat. Instead of making an enemy of humanity, Zarkin concluded, we have gained our most valuable ally. Already, human scientists are helping solve problems that have puzzled us for centuries. Their artists are creating works that move even the most stoic among us. Their soldiers train alongside ours, teaching techniques no Confederation species had considered. As Zarkin finished his speech, the scene shifted to a small park outside the Lunar Dome. There, a human child named Sam played a simple game with a young Confederation alien. Though they looked nothing alike, their laughter sounded the same. Murphy watched them, thinking of the future. Earth had survived its trial by fire. Now humanity would take its place among the stars, not as conquerors or subjects, but as equals with unique gifts to share. Lisa Bennett joined him, looking at the children. Do you think it will last? This peace? Murphy smiled. It won't always be easy, but yes. The galaxy just learned an important lesson. Never underestimate humans. In orbit above them, Earth continued its endless dance around the sun, no longer alone in the vast universe.